What's going on, guys? Welcome to Rob's house. It is a very nice day here in Eastern Tennessee. Just got done with work for the day. One of the things I love about living out here is that because we're on the edge of the time zone, it actually doesn't get dark until about 9 o'clock. So I actually have a good amount of daylight to do things, which makes it easier when you're working on a car in a garage with okay lighting, but not the best. Have a new mod for the Viper today. This just came in, special delivery yesterday from Woven Chang on Instagram. Shout out, I'm gonna put a link to their Instagram profile in the description below. I got a forged carbon steering wheel here, custom made for the Viper. Red grips to match the black and red Mamba interior. Red grips just like my stock steering wheel. We're gonna, of course, reuse the stock airbag assembly. Forged carbon, because if you're not familiar with Vipers, these cars have a ton of forged carbon underneath the hood. I have a couple of other interior bits on the way as well that are gonna match all of that. So I wanted to keep it all consistent with matte forged carbon. I don't really like mixing and matching carbon pieces on cars because I just think it looks weird if you have like a bunch of forged carbon under the hood and then you have a bunch of regular carbon fiber on the interior. It's just like, I don't know. For the sake of uniformity, I wanted to do it all in forged carbon. So steering wheel looks absolutely amazing. I'm going to switch to the helmet cam and show you guys how to install this. First things first, I need to disconnect the battery because we certainly don't want an accidental airbag deployment when we're removing the factory steering wheel. So I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, guys, so first things first, on the sides here, you can't really, I don't know if you could see it. I have the helmet cam on. There's two holes, basically where my fingers now are, okay? And what we're gonna do, there's a 10mm bolt inside of each one. Sounds kind of easy, but is kind of weird because you got to kind of do it by feel. I lied, maybe it's not a 10mm. Is it 5/16? All right, we have a winner. 5/16. I guess on Gen 5 it's 10mm, I'm not sure. There's one. There's one on the bottom as well. I know you guys can't really see what I'm doing here, but that is how this thing comes off. There we go. Lost one down here. One in here. Perfect. Okay, so now we got to disconnect the actual airbag wire. So we got to unplug all the stuff in here. If I turn it around, you can see where the 3 bolts were. Push these in and release. The airbag, note the colors. So our lighter colored gray one is going to go in yellow, black one is going to go in the green one. The wiring harness here are just on these studs that you can lift off of. And then we have one additional connector here, presumably for the horn, if I can figure out how to get it off. Let's see. Lift up on that, connector comes off. Okay. All right, so we are going to reuse all of this. Preserve this zip tie here, it's slipped off. All right, that's our airbag. The rest of this actually looks pretty easy. Unbolt this and pull the wheel off. I don't really think there's much else we need to do. I don't know what size this is. It is a half. Because what'll happen is it's on so tight that it'll start turning the wheel. Nothing an impact can't fix. How many Ugga-Duggas is the question. Not many. All right. Now, in theory, you might have to hit it, but I was saying in theory our wheel should come right off. All right, we gotta break this thing loose and it is on there. All right, guys, so you don't actually need a tool. What I did was I just put this bolt back on so that the wheel wouldn't hit me in the face, and I just really grabbed it basically and pulled it out. So now I'll just remove that bolt and we can get that out of there. This can actually get transferred over to the new wheel. All right, so we got the wheel off. Pretty simple. Definitely had to give it some muscle, but it wasn't that hard. Once I really started yanking on it, it came right off. Now with the backing piece on, I can feed our wires on through. I did have the steering wheel straight when I took it off. That is important. Well, to an extent, it's keyed. So, like, in other words, it won't go on crooked. If you can see, if I try to press it on crooked, it won't work. I actually have to line it up before it'll go on. Put this bolt back in. You can reapply some Loctite, but I have a decent amount still on these threads, so If it ends up coming loose, I'll take it back off and do it, but I don't think it will. Start by hand, obviously. Couple ugga-duggas, not going anywhere. Now we're just gonna do everything in reverse order. So we're going to plug this guy back in. Make sure that tab clicks, of course. Our lighter one goes to the yellow, right? And darker one was the black. Now we're just going to reinstall this. So we got to line this guy up. I realized I forgot that this was, these things slid on here. So that keeps these wires from going anywhere. That's how this was. Now we can line her up and finish up our install. So remember, this was a 5/16. Used a short extension, and we're going to start these by hand. We don't want to strip anything. All right, so now the only tricky part is going to be lining all this up. Now we can hit them all, make sure they're tight, and we're done. All right, guys, the install is complete. You can check it out. New wheel installed here. Looks awesome. Fit really easy. Pretty simple install. One thing to make sure is don't be careful how you tuck the wires back in there. I actually pinched one, and as soon as I reconnected my battery, my horn just started blaring like crazy because it was grounding out, basically. So I had to take everything back off, and then of course I found that there was a wire that was frayed and was grounding out on the metal frame of the wheel. So make sure you don't make that mistake. So just be careful when you're putting it back together. Don't pinch anything. But aside from that, I mean, pretty straightforward install, especially on a car this old. There's no steering wheel controls. So it's really easy. So yeah, I'm excited to take it for a drive with the new wheel. Grips feel way better than the stock one. But anyway, for anyone who has Viper, who's thinking about switching out their wheel, I hope this video is helpful. It's definitely pretty easy. You'll be able to do it in your garage, not a problem. Some basic tools. Don't be intimidated by it. As usual, I hope this video is helpful. Hope this video is entertaining, and I'll see you guys next time.